You hear these words all the time, right? Phishing, malware, DDoS. They're thrown around constantly, but what do they actually mean? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to break down the most common cyber attacks and really get a handle on the hidden threats that are all around us online.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture, the whole digital threat landscape. Then we'll dive into the nitty-gritty, how attackers trick people, how they infect our devices, and then the really big stuff, how they break entire systems. And finally, we'll tie it all together so you can navigate the web just a little bit smarter.
I mean, think about it. We do everything online now. We work there, we shop there, we connect with people there. But just under the surface of all those apps and sites we use every day, well, there's a whole other world operating completely in the shadows. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because understanding how these attacks actually work is the key. That's the first step to being able to spot them and avoid them. So let's pull back the curtain.
You know, the easiest way to make sense of all this is to just break it down. Let's think of it like a digital battle being fought on three main fronts. First, there are attacks targeting people, you and me. Then there are attacks targeting our devices, our phones and laptops. And finally, there are the attacks that go after the huge systems we all depend on. This framework is going to be our guide.
So let's jump into that first front. It's all about deception. And what makes these attacks so incredibly effective is that they don't just exploit computer code. They exploit human psychology, our natural instinct to trust.
Oh, I guarantee you've seen these. That email that looks like it's from your bank, or an urgent text about a package delivery. That's phishing. And the reason it's so incredibly common is because, well, it works. It preys on that gut reaction to trust a familiar logo or an urgent message, and it tricks us into handing over the keys to our digital lives.
Now, if phishing tries to trick you, a password attack is more of a direct assault. For talking brute force, attackers use software to just hammer away, guessing millions of password combinations. Or, even more likely, they use these giant lists of stolen passwords from other data breaches, and that is exactly why everyone tells you not to reuse your passwords.
Okay, picture this. You're on a phone call, but someone has secretly tapped into the line and is just listening to everything. That's pretty much a man-in-the-middle attack. It's especially common when you're on public Wi-Fi, at a cafe or airport, where it's a lot easier for an attacker to get right in between you and the website you're trying to visit.
So, tricking people is one way in. But what happens when the attack goes from your inbox to your actual computer? Well, that brings us to our second front, infecting our machines with malicious code. The whole goal here is to plant some kind of hostile program on your device, and from the inside, it can steal your data, cause all kinds of damage, or just spy on everything you do. And this is all done with one thing: malicious software.
And that's where we get the term malware, right? It's just short for malicious software. It's this big, broad umbrella term for pretty much any software that's designed to be harmful. We're talking viruses, spyware, Trojans, all the stuff we're about to get into.
And this is one of the sneakiest ways malware gets delivered. It's just like the Greek myth. It all starts with step one. A program looks totally safe, maybe a free game or a cool app. Then, step two, you download it yourself. You willingly let it in the front door. But then comes step three. The hidden harmful code inside activates, and suddenly there's a secret backdoor into your system.
And malware comes in a few different flavors. On one hand, you have spyware. It's all about stealth, secretly watching what you do to steal your information. And on the other hand, there's adware. Think of it as the loud, annoying cousin that just floods your screen with ads. Both are bad news, they just have very different ways of showing it.
So this is a really nasty type of spyware. A keylogger is basically the digital version of someone standing over your shoulder, writing down every single thing you type. Passwords, bank info, private messages, it captures it all and sends it straight to an attacker. Super creepy.
So we've seen how they target us and how they target our devices. But what happens when the attackers set their sights even higher? Let's zoom out to that third front. Attacks designed to break the very systems the internet is built on.
This quote just perfectly captures the chaos of one of the most feared attacks today, ransomware. I mean, we're not just talking about stealing data anymore. This is digital extortion that can bring an entire company or even a hospital to a complete standstill.
So here's the deal with ransomware. It gets into your system and just locks everything. It encrypts all your files, making them totally unusable. Then, a nice little message pops up demanding money, usually in crypto, in exchange for the key to get your files back. It is, quite literally, a digital hostage situation.
Okay, think of a botnet as a zombie army.
For real, attackers infect thousands, sometimes millions of computers with malware that turns them into these little bots. And the craziest part? The owners usually have no idea their device is now part of this giant network, all controlled by a single hacker, just waiting for the command to attack.
So what do you do with a giant zombie army of computers? You use it to overwhelm a target. See, these botnets are the secret engine that powers one of the most disruptive attacks on the web.
And that attack is called DDoS. It's basically a massive, weaponized traffic jam. The botnet tells every single one of its zombie computers to go to one website, all at the exact same time. The server just can't handle that flood of requests, so it overloads and shuts down, locking everybody out.
And finally, here are two really technical ones. With an SQL injection, an attacker is basically sneaking a secret command into a website's database to steal or delete information. DNS spoofing is different. That's like changing an address in the internet's phone book to send you to a fake website instead of the real one you wanted to visit.
Okay, wow, so we've gone all the way from simple email tricks to these massive, full-scale digital assaults. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? How do we actually put this knowledge to good use? And it all comes back to our framework. Thinking about cyber threats on these three fronts, deception, infection, and disruption, is really the key. It helps you categorize the danger and understand exactly what's being targeted. Is it your mind, your machine, or the whole infrastructure?
And that's the real challenge, right? These threats are always changing, always evolving, and most of the time, they're invisible. That's why the most powerful line of defense we have isn't some fancy software, it's our own awareness. Because just understanding what's out there, that's the first and most important step to staying safe online. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.